What's up, guys, and welcome to the Positive Pathway. Today I have a very special guest, Farzana Shubana. Farzana is a lady with many talents and lots of interesting life stories, which we might hear very soon. Welcome to the show, Farzana.
Thank you so much, Stuart. Hi, everybody. It's my pleasure to be on the show.
Fantastic. So, Farzana, why don't we start with you sharing a little bit about yourself with the viewers?
Sure, thank you. I'm actually Asian born, long time ago. I was born in Bangladesh, but with my parents, I was relocated to USA when I was small. And most of my life, I've been in the Western world. I grew up in a big family with several brothers and sisters, so it was fun. But there was always, my parents were traditional Asian family where my dad worked and my mom kind of took care of us. And there was always challenge, like any other family, whether it's financial, whether emotional. But my mom always used to say, just look at the bright side that we have wonderful place to live, beautiful family to enjoy, and food and good health. And I think that instilled me in my upbringing into adulthood. I studied and I worked mostly in US and Americas, South and Central America. And I worked in supply chain and operations, a very male-dominating environment and industry. So beyond growing up in an Asian family, an Asian Muslim family, and going into engineering, what was my degree, and then starting work in operations, it was quite interesting, challenging to say the least. But one thing for sure, I learned a lot, and that's why looking back, I really admire and appreciate what life had to offer me in terms of learning. Somewhere in the middle of the career, I came to Asia, but before that, I had some family challenges, and I found myself as a single mom of two wonderful children. My children were at that point 8 and 2, and life threw curves at me for the second time, and I was a bit lost. And again, it was wonderful to go through the journey from a learning perspective. Yes, emotionally, psychologically, it was very painful. But the things I've learned, the friends I've identified who are real friends, and the resilience skills that my children helped me to learn through their smile, looking back, that really given me strength for the rest of the life. Before that, I want to touch upon when I was in university, I had a very interesting chapter where my father couldn't um, take care of the education anymore. I was in second year of engineering and we were four children. So I had to drop out. I had to drop out of engineering. And I remember my counselor in university told me, just look at the bright side and work, do everything to come back. So, looking back, that was the first interesting curveball that life threw at me. And I took two jobs, and I was working at night and evenings and taking day classes as an undergrad. And I graduated. So I was really happy because I was the first Asian Muslim woman in my family, both sides, fathers and mother, who to get a technical degree from United States. So I was very happy. But yeah, the counselor's coaching and he heard her advice, do anything what you need to do to come back and finish it. Don't give up. Helped me a lot. Of course, as I mentioned, the second curveball was finding myself as a single mom. There were a lot of social taboos. There were a lot of family pressures. Friends were split. But I learned to live, survive, and thrive beyond survival and thrive. And my children were wonderful, making me stronger and resilient because no matter what happened, they smiled. Fast forward 5 years from then, I found myself in Asia. and I found myself alone, relocated here in Singapore, beautiful Singapore. And then I had to establish or settle myself here in terms of, you know, finding school, finding housing, finding doctors, finding way to go to the work, finding way to do food shopping. As a single mom in a new city with two small children, it wasn't easy. But what we did together is we looked at life as an what I would say, in a fun experiment, and every day is a new adventure, and that was really our way of approach. That everyday life is just a new adventure. We try to stay safe and we try to stay healthy. Beyond that, it was all fun. So when I separated and divorced, I was sitting there with $10 in my bank. And most recently, last year, we loved Singapore so much. We bought a small condo here in Singapore. So now we are a homeowner in Singapore. And I've been divorced for 6 years. Looking back, it just an amazing experience, journey, and a lesson of resilience. And I am thankful that I had my two children to pick me up and help me every time I was almost ready to give up. So that's my journey. Most recently, I also moved to Switzerland for a role. And again, going through the same transition adjustment. But I am comfortable and I am more ready this time around, because guess what? I have done that once before. It taught me a lot of lessons and now it's fun. So that's me from childhood all the way till now. And it's been a wonderful journey. At the moment when crisis happened, it didn't feel wonderful, but looking back, it was a wonderful learning journey.
Wow. So for you, not only did the challenges make you stronger, but they helped make you successful as well.
Yes, very true. The way I always approached it, and it's a very common saying, but looking back, I think I had to live it. What doesn't break you makes you stronger. And every time I had a challenge, my thought process through my children and through very close friends was not to dwell into the challenge of negativity, but really focus on how to recover and get better, recalibrate life. So when I, for example, got kicked out of university and I had to do two jobs, I was recalibrating my schedule in terms of how I can get all three, my two jobs and my college, done. When I came back to Singapore, I was also trying similar approach to say, okay, I have a challenge. I have a day job, very demanding day job. I have to travel across Asia Pacific through multiple countries. I have two relatively young children and an absolutely very new place where I have to settle in happily for my children to feel comfortable while finding all the other social norms. And I try to really focus on recalibrating my life, whether when I wake up, how long I meditate in the morning, and breaking down the day into small segments of success and small segments of achievement to say, I would at least like to do 2 or 3 of these things today. And if I do, I'm happy for today and I have no worries. And I'm not going to worry about tomorrow or 2 months or how difficult yesterday was. But if I get these 2, 3 things, life is good.
So on a personal level, what do you do each day that helps you stay in a positive mindset? You were saying you try to have a few things each day?
Sure. I think I've evolved in terms of my source of positive energy over time, I must say. But right now, at a personal level, what really helps me is to meditate first thing in the morning after getting up. And that's just 10 minutes in my room. I don't even get out. I just compose myself, open up the curtains and windows, and just meditate for a few minutes, just to bring the composure to today's achievements, thanking God and thanking myself for the health and the safety of my family and children, and kind of reminding that I am strong and positive to survive whatever life brings in. And both at a personal level, you know, having children, my son is 17 and my daughter 11. So with the teenage and tween age, it's been interesting. I've evolved as a mother also, to look things and have a different perspective. But right now, to stay positive at a personal level, at an interaction, I find what helps me a lot is empathy. When children are throwing tantrums, I really try to put myself in their shoes and really try to remember how I was when I was teenage. And I'm sure I wasn't that easy for my mom either. So trying to putting myself in their shoes and having an empathy, maybe they're going through physiological changes with hormones, or maybe they had a bad day at school, or maybe they don't understand a subject topic what they're studying. Trying to really have a empathy and trying to understand the root cause takes away the frustration, takes away the stress, takes away the anger that may be associated in that interaction with the children. In terms of dealing with difficult people, I personally feel I've come a long way, because what I've learned, Stuart, is I detach from a negative environment, and I consciously like to detach from a negative interaction or environment or circumstances emotionally. I may be physically sitting there and I'm seeing an accident or a crisis and an argument, but emotionally, psychologically, I try my best to detach, where I don't want to be part of that negativity. And that conscious effort helped me a lot.
Yes, I like your style. I'm a big fan of that one too. I try to detach myself. But while we're talking about your children, how do you instill a positive mindset within your children? Do they follow your lead?
Sometimes they feel I'm in the la la land. No, no, because sometimes they'll come to me with the biggest crisis of their life, right? And I would be laughing or smiling, and they would get all angry and upset, like, how could you laugh about it, Mama? This is such an important thing. And then I like go back to the empathy and like, okay, if it's important for them, let me not be silly, Mom. And what I try to tell them is looking back positively in terms of, look, what we have survived, what we have gone through, and where we have come together. And if we can do this, we can take any challenge coming in forward. So like to look back, again, going back to what my principle is, as a learning experience, and really appreciate that journey from that perspective, rather than the suffering, the difficulties, the challenges, the loneliness and the missing family, but versus, do you remember when you got lost in the mall and how you went to an auntie and you figured out how to, find yourself? So we look back life, and I ask my children to look back life from a learning perspective. And sometimes I also remind them when they're angry, frustrated, and upset with friends. I ask them, how are you feeling? And whatever they say, I would say, being there, is it helping you? Being angry, being upset, being frustrated on, Lisa, Mona, or whoever, is it helping you? And then my daughter generally would be like, no, but, and then I then generally would ask her, give her a hug, and I'm a lot about warm, showing love and affection. And I would ask him, where would you want to be, and how would you like to go there? So, Mama, I want to be good friends with her again. Okay, how can we go there, baby? So it's a really an exercise of taking small steps towards where we want to be. And where we want to be is happy and peaceful and positive. So for my children who are still learning, I really go through life as a small step by step of exercise to recover from a negative emotion into where we want to be. And we are not perfect, but we try to approach problems that way.
Yes, fantastic. And I love basically you're teaching your children to use empathy as well, aren't you? And I think it's a fantastic strategy for any conflict. I mean, even though I'm aware of it as well, us as human beings, we instantly react like a mirror. Whatever happens to us, we react exactly the same back. Whereas empathy is the ideal way to react in reality, isn't it? Turn anger into empathy, and then it's a much easier journey from there.
Yeah, I
Well,
absolutely.
yeah, I think it's a wonderful thing. I think more importance should be put on empathy.
Another thing I learned from Asia, and I really admire this, is pause and take a pause. And I've learned from my Japanese colleagues, my Oriental colleagues, and that's so powerful. When I'm so immediately ready to react and respond, and I'm working on it, I'm not perfect, I'm working on it, I will try to pause and I will take a deep breath and say, what was I supposed to do? Detach. And how was I supposed to feel? Empathy. And I'm working on it. I think it's helping me to smile more, but definitely I pause because it's so easy to jump in, right? It's so easy to react. And if we can exercise pause, like our elderlies and a lot of Asians do, it's really helpful to bring us back to the right mindset. Yeah.
Yes. I think because of modern technology, it's so easy to react straight away with a text. You really got to put the phone down for a second and have a think before you respond, isn't it?
At a professional front, one of my mentors long time back told me, if you're doubtful about any email or any communication, write it, but leave it overnight. Don't send it. Get up next morning, see if you want to send it, then go ahead. Because a lot of that instant emotion can really convey the wrong message that you want to communicate, whether verbally or written. So I still like, yeah, I'm like, how could he think that we can sell this product at this price? And then I would try to get it out of my system through some way of writing it and whatnot. But I like to again pause and overnight sleep over it and come back and say, do I want to pick up the phone? Do I want to have a face call? Or do I want to send this out? And always it has helped me to wait and take out that time out before acting on it. Yeah.
Great. It's a fantastic strategy. And while we're on your professional front of your life, do you incorporate any other positive mindset or positive thinking strategies within your professional life?
Um, I'm trying, and it's a journey, Stuart. I'm sure you know, but what has helped me, and I can share with everybody, um, first, reading a lot about philosophical perspective, about religions, about cultures. And I think when I started reading about how Japanese culture work, how Chinese culture work, how Australians are thinking, it helped me professionally to be able to more effective in communication, or help me to understand them better. So I try to read a lot of cultural, heritage, historic writings, and so forth. Professionally, the second thing I told you, I try not to react. I try to pause, whether it's a written communication or in meeting conversation. I even have a big word on my notebook says pause. So if I forget, I'm human. I will forget. I will react. I may have a bad day, 7 o'clock in the evening. So I kind of had that written, colorful, beautiful blue color that is my favorite. Say pause. Yeah, and then a smiley there. And the last thing I do is when I make a mistake and when I make an error in my judgment, um, I have grown enough to go to the individual and apologize. I think that is very important to clear my inner soul, because then I don't carry that burden that, oh my God, I was wrong, but because of ego or because of whatever in a social phase, I didn't go and say sorry. So I'm clear, and the relationship is rebuilt. I feel that it helped me rebuilding so many relationships where I put my like personal hesitation or embarrassment or ego, whatever it is might be, aside, and went to the person and say, look, I was wrong and I didn't read enough about the numbers on the P&L, or look, I really didn't read the brief, and it was a bad day, or whatever it is. I try to be very honest, because I think we are all human, right, Stuart? We are all human. So people understand if I had a bad day. I went to a doctor or whatever, and I apologize. I sincerely apologize. I try to be sincere. I don't try to, I think honesty and sincerity is so important in building relationship. So yeah, after pausing, the third thing I really focus on, apologizing and valuing relationship in professional context more than success or more than promotions or more than salaries or anything else. Yeah.
Yes, I've always placed a big emphasis on not only having a fantastic relationship with my boss, that's always my first goal, and a sincere one too, not just because they're my boss, but that's the relationship that's most important for me. But I always want to be friends with everyone, not have one person that I don't get along with. I want to get along with everyone, and that's always been my objective.
It helps a lot. It helps a lot.
And another thing I remember reading, which you've pointed out with pausing, is I used to always come up with these brilliant ideas, and I'd burst into my boss's office, and they'd never come out the way they were in my head. And they'd go, "Oh, no, we're not going with that." And I realized after some research that every conversation I have with my manager, I should plan out like a meeting and write what I'm going to say, have it prepare, rehearse, and then when I go in, I can pitch my idea with confidence. They can understand it, and they're much more likely to approve it as well.
Right.
Which
Absolutely.
Which I didn't do for the whole time before then.
And going back to what you said is that if you have a great relationship with your line manager, even if you went with what I call half-baked idea, that relationship would help to just not create any judgment for that interaction. I think that is so important, because we see each other at a human level. And Stuart, I feel that it takes two to clap, right? So if I am sincere, respectful, and really committed to helping my team and my boss achieve the goal, it's going to reciprocate. It may take some took time, with some it was very quick, but I think it reciprocates. I've seen it enough. I'm old enough to see enough example that I believe that good behavior, good kindness would reciprocate.
Yes, and I also agree with your strategy with being open and honest. Like, if you, instead of hiding your personal life or whatever, just be honest, and then the next time when you need to say, look, I've got this emergency, just like I was telling you about previously, now it's happened. So yeah, but I love all of your ideas. I think
Thank you.
You bring a lot to the show, and I'm very, very appreciative. And I thank you so much for your insights today, Farzana. And thank you for coming on the show.
Stuart, it's been a pleasure. Thank you.
So that's all for the show today, folks. If you like this video, please subscribe, and remember to smash that like button. And remember, respect one another. Respect. Bye for now.